Okay. Alright. Jack and Jill went up the hill to get a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown. And Jill says, never after. Poor girl. She was left in the wilderness with no place for her passion.
Well, maybe she looked for arrowheads. That could keep her busy for a while.
Arrowheads. Yeah, crystal and arrowheads, no less.
Some scrapers and...
Yeah. I had a friend that was really good at making arrowheads. He could get the deer horn and the onyx and just, oh man, and he knew how to age them and make them look good. You would not believe how many of his modern day created pieces were in museums as old pieces.
Quite a talent.
Yeah, I tell you. So, we got a couple old geezers here today, guys. You know, Grandpa Coyote, somewhere here, and this is
Neutron Man.
Neutron Man.
Neutron Man
from Sirius. He's serious about everything. So really,
serious.
Pay attention to what he has to say.
But neither condemn nor condone anything.
Well, unless you really have to, in which case it's all right.
Yeah. Sometimes you can't get away from it.
I tell you, you know, there's nothing like a little condemnation heaped upon somebody else to make yourself feel better. I mean, it's a righteous thing in some way.
It shows so much more about the other person than about you, doesn't it?
It sure does, motherfuckers. I mean, you know, gosh. How much does a person have to take to be alive in this world? I mean, you know, gosh, the indignities.
What's the song? How many... the Dylan song.
How many roads must a man go down before they call him a man?
Yeah.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind.
Yes.
And I am the wind that blew it away.
Well, we are experiencing the winds of change now. The last 2 days
I tell you, Earth is changing about as fast as I change my underwear, I tell you.
Spinning daily.
Well, actually, I don't wear any underwear. Anyway, she's changing. Oh yeah, I do these videos bottomless, man. But yeah, we're like, I mean, well, we got some local change going on right here, right now, don't we, brother?
We do. We have a lot of stretching, bouncing between extremes.
Dispassionate forces encountering each other once again.
Yeah. If we're a waistband, you know, it would eventually fail.
And your pants would fall down, and you'd be just like me, totally embarrassed in public, man.
Gotta keep this stretch factor in there.
No shit, baby. So
I see signs of wonderful things happening.
Yeah, maybe the rubber band will snap back into place and just stay there, you know. People
not too loose, not too tight.
Exactly. Right. Oh God. Because it can definitely be too loose and too tight. I've seen a lot of that around here, ain't you?
True, you know. Some people are complaining of stress, but some people are saying, I need more stress.
Yeah.
They have both ends of the spectrum.
God, I mean, there's an answer, there's an equation there with a simple answer, isn't there?
Well, Neutron Man would say, pick the middle ground.
Well, actually, I see both of them. I mean, these guys got excess, these guys got too little. What's wrong with a little good old American exchange? I mean, you know, okay, you can have half of mine and I'll have half of you. Baby, we're balanced.
You never run out.
Yeah, you know, you're like, shit. Everybody gets what they need, you know. The dudes that need, or the dudette probably that needs stress because they seem to juggle it better than we do, gets it, and the dude that needs to relax gets to do that.
Fair exchange system has got to be put in place too, so it doesn't get out of whack.
Yeah.
Disproportionate, but again, you can look at individuals and say, well, it's going to be hardworking individuals, driven. They're going to exploit the system anyway, as human nature. But you know, if we are in different times,
Oh, you know,
compassion
again,
being
there's
involved.
another place right there. If the system wasn't exploiting us, there wouldn't be anybody trying to exploit the system. If we weren't being exploited in the first place, in other words, enslaved actually, I mean, be honest about it. The economic system that we work under is incredibly corrupt, and essentially us underlings ain't nothing but slaves. You know, very privileged slaves. I mean, even living in the slums of this country is better than a lot of other places.
There's a lot of soft drink choices.
Yeah, I tell you.
Yeah,
You can't beat it, Pepsi and Coke, man. I mean, where else in the world can you find that? I mean, the countries are all franchised to one or the other now, you know. But yeah, it's time for us who call ourselves family and who feel this familiarity with each other to get off our fucking dead asses and get this shit right. I mean, God, are we pansy asses or what?
Are you saying the dress rehearsal is over?
No, I'm saying the big scene has already happened and it's time to let the curtain drop, babies, and let's party! Take off this greasy shit and get down, man. You know, head for town, don't you think? I mean, I'm speaking in a very metaphorical sense, of course, but West, brother, it's got to start somewhere. You got a bottle?
Well, now is always the best time to start.
Absolutely. And right here in our little adopted hometown of Crestone, Colorado, if we want peace anywhere, it's got to start here. I mean, where else could it start? We're so far from anything, it doesn't matter.
And we're like in a laboratory.
Yeah.
Isolated laboratory.
Laboratory rats are living in the trees, man.
Yeah. Well, we start with ourselves, and then we get our house in order and move out from there.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's the tricky part.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
Well, if every interaction is a chance to learn, exchange energy, then it's an endless path.
Yeah.
Possibilities.
Yeah.
So Crestone has that kaleidoscopic quality. The characters that are drawn in and the nature of the dramas that develop, there's no 2 days alike. They're all.
But they're people that are in development, and each one of them knows it on some level.
A work in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah. Individually and collectively.
Yeah. Family, heart. Whacked out at times, ain't we ever? All of us.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably the end of hierarchical organizations, and we go to egalitarian and circular, feminine decision making, and then there's equality. You don't have to worry who's going to get the corner office with the 2 windows.
You
don't have to worry folks, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You're going to be free.
People are afraid of that. We are so conditioned.
The mental slavery, that's
that's where it is. It's a cover.
Bob Marley and the Wailers, they wrote about mental slavery, and as subtle as it is,
the ultimate cruelty.
You don't want to face it. The ultimate cruelty. It's hidden in plain view.
Yeah, but it's what makes you hurt. It's what makes you feel that pain and go numb too. That's what makes you go numb, because you can't stand the hurt. You can't stand the consciousness. So what we're saying is as we approach these levels, you got to see what's been going on if you want to get past there. You
got to reflect and make a case.
What you've allowed to be,
Do you think about your own life scientifically, like hypotheses and things like that? You say, I wonder why I did that. Well, maybe I did it for this reason.
No, I have been taught to review life much differently than that. Yeah. You go back, it starts as part of the healing process, because If you've got an illness or even an injury, there's some causative factor that's allowed you to let that into your life. You know what I mean? So you go back to that place as a part of the process. You soften yourself up first so that you can allow this to happen. And then you go back to that place and you either be that person again for a few moments, but even if you do, or you witness it, but either way, you're like at this place that's removed from time. I call it an elevated place, because you're kind of looking down on it. Because you see a broader perspective than you did when you were living in it. You know? And what you also see, besides the dynamic that gave you trauma down here and fixated behaviors that arose from that moment, and perhaps the numbness that you felt forever since then, things like that, you know, you see and sense that and know that all over again. And it can be tricky because, you know, sometimes these happen in pretty ugly moments in our lives, you know, or what seems to be ugly. But then you go back up here where you're looking at it outside of time, and you become conscious of other beings and energies around you, and you hear voices and you speak with these beings, and you're talking about what's going on down there, and you're feeling and experience the joy of allowing yourself to go through such agonizing places, to let your soul be ripened in such a way. Things like that. In other words, you go to those moments that have caused you the pain and that's brought you the illness or the injury, and you understand the higher reasons for them.
Transmuting.
Yeah, there's always an exchange going on, and a gaining and a growing, even in the moment of the creation of a death, an unintentional death, or an intentional death, a murder. You know, I mean, even things like that. There's elements there that are being served on both sides. And until you're in these higher places, you really can't see or understand that. And we've been conditioned to be very judgmental of these actions down here. You know, so that's what I'm talking about. You go back to those
right, wrong, good, bad.
Yeah. You kind of neutralize the effect because you see beyond those limited perspectives of judgment and condemnation, mostly of yourself. Even if you were the victim, you blame yourself for allowing it to be. And if you were the perpetrator, you try to justify yourself because you feel it. You know, and you know, on those levels, the gritty levels, you know. I mean, nobody escapes the reality. It's there. It's just how numb can you get to it? How far can you get from it? And as you're moving yourself back from it, you're building all these little emotional, psychological, and spiritual guardians to keep you from going back to the point of innocence where you can understand. You know, the more judgment you hold on yourself, the further you get from it. Like that.
So what's the key? To go back to innocence? To get back to innocence?
Yeah. You go through, you know, well, we're in accelerated times now, so who can say what the process is anymore? But, you know, you will purify moments in your life that have caused you grief or anxiety or behavioral changes and so forth. You will experience those in some way, in some level, and allow yourself to release the tensions of the moment, whatever's caused the displeasure within you.
Is the past written in stone? You think you can...
Well, that's how you undo it.
You can undo it from
and
presence.
Literally, don't you see, I mean, we've come back from the future into these time frames of now in order to change our perspective future. So we're doing that right now. We're changing the past from a future standpoint. You know, that's the reality of many of us who are here on Earth now, because we've lived into that relative future, and we've seen that the outcome wasn't as we anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
So we've looked back through it in a broader perspective, and we've pinpointed, hindsight's always 20/20. We've pinpointed the places where it went askew, and the causative factors too. And so we've gone back a little before that and undone the askewedness before it became askew. and we've literally done that. Not many people know this or conscious of it, because spiritual beings are occupied otherwise. But since around a specific time in 1994, there was a switch. The 100th monkey fell out of the tree, so everybody else started falling out too. I mean, it was the point where, okay, we'd unaskewed the askewedness, We'd reached that level. And then it was just a matter of ripening into what we'd already created, into that more brilliant future that actually brings us planetary ascension. And past that point, and because we snuck it in like that, when everybody else was in a state of basically unawareness, at least of that, and I'm talking about forces that would think they were opposing to it, because we snuck it in like that, we got away with it. And it was fair and all by the rules, you know what I mean? But it was like, that's what happened. And so since then, it's a done deal. It's only a matter of how soon it can fall in place and how much we can limit any damage or harm that might come to somebody or some things in the process. In other words, the more accelerated and it can be, the more peaceful it is, because the more it's moving out of the effects of time, which kind of nullifies the destructive effects, in a sense. Sounds pretty deep, I know, but it's not. It's really simple.
A monkey avalanche.
Yeah, I like that. Call it the banana bowl. The monkey's all falling into the banana bowl.
Well, I think the Mayans' calendar talked about time locks, that there's certain things you just can't go beyond, because the energy has to affect the bulk of people, and then can go on. It's like if you send a scout too far out, he's not going to come back,
Well, yeah, because he's going to find Sacagawea before you do, and she's going to like him. Yeah.
But if we're all here to pull everyone else up, it's like a rope will stretch to the max, and then you pull it up, and then you move ahead, pull it.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like how an amoeba moves, it's shaping, pulling its cell all around, and it's all moving at the same time.
And gathering itself into being.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing shit. We're really blessed to be alive in such time. And to be able to live in such beautiful places too.
It's the best, yeah. You gotta pinch yourself every day.
Mother's here. Oh yeah, you do. You gotta pinch good.
The sun, the stars, the cosmos.
Amazing.
Everything's here.
We're blessed, man. We really are. I know a lot of people out there just don't realize how blessed they are. And we've lived.
A lot of people do too. A lot more people are waking up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the more that do, then, like I said, it's just the monkeys falling into the banana bowl. It works, yeah. That's brilliant, man. I like it.
That's right, yeah.
Jeez.
Well, it could all happen very fast.
Yeah.
And perhaps it already has.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
we get so used to so much change happening so fast, maybe we're numb to how fast it is happening.
Yeah.
And it's happening. New generations come in and they can take over and not have to tend with the irrelevancies.
Well, I hope they'll be kind-hearted towards us old farts. We may not have done the best we could, but we did pretty good with what we had to work with, kids. So, you know, forgive us if we fucked up. I mean, you know, we're old. I can hardly breathe anymore. You know, I'm getting so ancient. So. I mean, well, I'm a lot older than he is. He's only 23.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm 27, you know, so. And I still haven't graduated from high school because it's just too much bother. But I do like band, and I do like, you know, chasing. But they're all underage now, so they won't let me into high school anymore. Shit.
Well, there's always Florida.
College. Oh, yeah, no,
Spring
Florida.
break.
Florida, yeah, well, yeah, maybe.
Daytona Beach.
I don't know. It's such a plastic place. Oh man! Last time I was down in Florida, it's so crowded. I could hardly breathe, man. You know, there's a lot of folks down there. That little
I was in
town,
San Diego. Pacific
Oh,
Beach.
That's much better. But it's cold in the morning, man. Yeah, that's fog rolls in the morning. It's cold.
Yeah.
You know. But once that burns off, it's beautiful.
Yes, it's nice. Southern California.
There's a little cafe I used to hit way back when. It was north of San Diego, about 40 miles or so. South of San Juan Obispo and north of San Diego. I can't remember, like Oceanside north of that. But something like that. A little cafe perched up on a rocky cliff out looking over the ocean. And you could sit there and eat oysters and watch whales swim by out there in the distance, you know, big old tails flapping in the air. San Juan Capistrano was south of that, yeah. And I've been to so many places that my mind starts to forget.
I think in that area too.
Yeah.
Escondido.
Oh,
up
yeah.
there.
There's a beach there that's just out of this. Oh, that's a long time ago, but I love that country. You know, I've never, but when I was a young man, I had plenty of opportunity arise down in that L.A. area. You know, I was like in the entertainment business. You know, and. No, I wasn't a pole dancer.
How did you ever get involved in the entertainment business then?
Oh shit! I was looking.
By accident?
Yeah, I was looking for work when I was a kid, about 18. I was married and had a wife with a baby on the way, and I wasn't doing a very good job of bringing in income because I was, you know, fucking around. And I saw this little ad in the paper, wanted people to travel with Roadshow, and just gave a phone number. Didn't say how much or nothing, but I called the guy. I was intrigued, you know. Well, it turned out to be this little movie company that had this movie about hunting in Alaska, and they were looking for people that would go out and they'd live in a certain area. It might be in a different town every night, or they might stay in a certain area and work towns out of that area for a while. But every night you would go to a theater and you would take the tickets in the movie in, and they could set the movie up and then use your tickets. They couldn't use their own. And you just kind of counted heads and made sure that everybody behaved themselves and the money stayed in the till until you got your hands on it. At the end of the day, you took all the money, you took the movie and the tickets, and you split. You know, and on to another day. And sometimes you'd have 3-4 day runs or a week run, so you'd be at the same place every day. But that was basically the job, so I took it. And traveled all over the U.S. and Eastern Canada, and I had a great time. I mean, it's the 60s, for heck's sakes. It was fun. And I was young and wet behind the ears. It's the first time I'd heard rock and roll soul at this place called the Hungry Eye in Indianapolis, Indiana. Middle of the winter, 10 below outside. It was warm inside. It was hotter than hell. And the chicks were friendly, and we could boogie down. And I began to discover myself, you know. Before this, my life had been pretty compacted, and you know, I had dealt with a lot, and I really hadn't experienced much freedom and hopefulness. And all
They're in
this,
Indianapolis, 10 below.
oh God, rock and roll soul, just blow you away. I mean, right there in your face with all the horns and everything. It was awesome. And then Toronto, you know, I wound up at Buffalo for a while. Buffalo wasn't near as neat, but Toronto, oh my God. Spent a few weeks there, and then up in northern Ontario. Oh, beautiful. Oh, party. Oh, fun. You know? And the chicks at the bank even liked you, you know? Oh, gee. And I'm, you know, a hippie. It's okay. So, you know, this was only for like 6 months, you know, maybe 8, I forget, but something like that. And, you know, October, November, somewhere in there till the June or middle of May or something like that, you know. But, you know, all these theater managers, were encouraging me to, you know, you should get into this business, you're good at it. And I loved it. I've always loved movies, but this was when I really started getting into them. So, yeah, when I got done with that, after just partying my fool ass off and having a great time, and not making much money, but just having a great time, meeting awesome people and beginning to experience my real self, you know, finding that person, you know, it was fun. And so I bullshitted myself into a job as a theater manager trainee in Salt Lake City, Utah, you know. And within a few weeks after getting that, I was like doing citywide promotions because I was creative and aggressive, you know.
What kind of movies were you making?
Oh, I wasn't making them, I was showing them, and I was promoting them, you know.
Oh, promoting them and showing them.
Then, yeah, and then I became like, and then they gave me my own little theater. I had this little art house downtown Salt Lake City, played all the European flags. Oh, shit, it was fun. And
Cinema Paradisico, you know that was Cinema Paradise.
Oh, that was after that. We would play things like A Man and a Woman in Belle d'Or, and what was that one about World War I? Oh God, it was a sad movie. Shit, it was bad. I can't remember, but they were, you know, art movies. You know, The Fox. Oh my God.
They get a box of Kleenex with their ticket.
Well, it wasn't a sex flicks per se. It was European.
No, sad
movies.
for wiping the eyes.
Oh, okay, yeah. You tell me my head is. But The Fox, that's what made me think of it. Marge. You know, we played that thing for 6 freaking months. 6 months of The Fox, and you know, you can hear it throughout the theater. There's no place in the restroom. There's no place to hide. The sound is everywhere. And I knew every word in that movie, every inflection in the voice, everything, you know, like, oh.
Was that an espionage movie?
No, it was a movie about these two young ladies that were lovers and lived in a cabin in the woods, and one day a male woodchopper showed up and changed their whole dynamic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's The Fox, you know, very deep, heavy stuff for the time, yeah. But the female protagonist was awesome, and she more than compensated for the lameness of the plot, you know. Yeah.
Really? Beyond Dinner with Andre.
Oh, but Sandy Dennis was the other, you know. She was the frantic partner losing her partner, you know, and very neurotic about it, you know, and potentially violent.
Neurotic, was she?
Yeah, neurotic. Yeah, something like that. But anyway, I went from a career there, but ultimately became a district manager, and you know, it was a lot of damn work and a lot of long hours, but a lot of good rocking times, and people were so open and the chicks were so friendly, and we just had a blast. And so, you know, I kind of transitioned from that over into, because I couldn't do business the way the company wanted me to do business, quite frankly. And you know, I tried, but I'm just not very good at that stuff, you know what I mean? So...
You're a manager, not an accountant, right?
Yeah, but ultimately we came to a point of parting, you know, because of, you know, basic operating differences.
I understand.
I'm not going to run them down. You know, everybody has their way.
Well, how'd you get into acting then?
I didn't get into acting. You know, I went from there to a little movie producing company, and at first I was just working with them as an account rep. Basically, I sold movies. I went to places like railroads and government agencies and people that needed training movies. I can't remember what all, but those are the primaries, were the railroads and the government. They, especially like in April, they spent a lot of money because that was the end of their fiscal year, and if they had leftovers, they had to spend it. So they'd make a movie. So these were like 20-minute, half-hour, 10-minute, you know, shorts, and mostly industrial in nature.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they were working on a feature length, what you'd call an indie now. But back then, it was more along the lines of a four-wall, like that one that I started in the business with, which is basically a self-distributed movie. But they can be, those days, they could be pretty lucrative if you played your cards right, you know. So ultimately, I became involved in that project, and I was second vice president in charge of distribution. First vice president, I don't know, some fucked up title like that. I did distribution. I was number 2 man in the company. That's what happened, you know, and got involved in all kinds of tricky financial deals, ultimately dealing with, you know, Federico and his friends from who knows where, you know, and things got a little different.
Federico from Puerto Rico?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it wasn't Puerto Rico. But anyway, you know, ultimately these things but I had a blast at the same time. We did some pretty incredible things and made a hell of a movie, but then got it in the can, and the son of bitches wanted to change everything, and it bankrupted us, and they couldn't finance it. That's ultimately what happened. You know, but a glamorous deal. But by this point in time, I'd had enough experience in the business that, you know, I was getting a little burned out, but I was still loving it. It's movie business. I wanted to be behind the camera and in front of it too, to be quite honest with you. But I was real shy about the in front of it, and I knew I couldn't go to L.A. because that place would eat me alive. I was still too young and innocent. I didn't know my ass from a hole in the ground. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that place is very high energy and very fast living, and you know, it's a little farm boy from Utah, you know. I mean, I'd been down there and I'd spent some time. I pretty much knew the place already, you know, and it's like, I don't know if I could live there. But anyway, so when this other deal folded up, there were 3 or 4 offers out of L.A., and probably some that would have led right in the direction I'd like to go too, but I just couldn't do it. And I went back to driving truck, because by then I was old enough that they would hire me. Because before that, I could only drive for the family business because of insurance things. You know, in the family business, I'm covered, no big deal. But in the commercial world, if I'm not 23, the insurance companies at the time would not cover you. 23 and experienced. Now, you know, how do you get around that? Well, that family business, that's what got me into it. But anyway, I was just tossing it around, and in fact, I was talking to my dad about it, you know, at one point, you know, and Dad and I never seen eye to eye on much of anything, but he said something like, you know, son, you should just go to work driving truck. He says, you're the best in the family. He says, it's what you do, you're good at, and you might just as well go there and just forget this other for a while, because it ain't happening. And I looked at him and said, Dad, you know, you're right. You know, and I went the next day and bullshitted my way into a nickel-a-mile job and started driving trucks. But, you know, I'd go back and forth as the years went by, and I had some really good truck driving jobs. And especially the second one I had, it was hauling new boats for a manufacturer. It's still semi, but I would go coast to coast and border to border, but to all the neat places, the lakes and marinas on the river and stuff like that, and way up into Canada and the Great Lakes, yeah, all over the, you know, and I'd work the big boat shows in the big cities too. And you know, I was also kind of like the company rep. I mean, ultimately, I wound up being the only driver he had. He had 2 trucks, but there was only business enough for one driver, so I'd take one out and deliver a load and bring back engines and stuff, and then I would park it and take the other one for the next trip, and then if this one needed any work, he'd get it done while I was gone. So it really, from a maintenance standpoint, made sense, and you know, since he had 2 trucks, it just made sense. But anyway, that was one of the best ones I had, and you know, I got to party everywhere I went, and all expenses paid, and a good wage. I mean, shit, I was so spoiled. Damn. You know, I can barely even make that kind of money now. Nobody's paying your damn expenses. You're paying your own, man. Yeah. If they pay them, they take it out of your check. You know? Some of them charge you for the privilege of driving for them in some offhanded sort of way. I don't know how they do it. I've never had them try it with me. I'd be out the door so damn fast they wouldn't even see my feathers fly. You know? But yeah, that's a brief overview there. But I've always had a passion for movies, and I still think that, you know, Wes, that project we're talking about, the cowboy movie, well, I mean, shit. We should do a cowboy movie! Yeah! Yeah. So why don't you tell us about your cowboy movie? Enough of my bullshit.
Well, this is how it begins. You're up in heaven. These guys floating around, these disembodied faces.
Yeah.
These old cowboys. Ugliest bunch of guys you've probably ever laid your eyes on. And you can tell they've been here a long time floating around in heaven.
Yeah.
Everything was perfect. But you get the feeling after about 20 seconds of, maybe 25 seconds, these guys are bored. They can't affect anything anymore. They can't be bad. They can't be good. Of course, they were good because they're in heaven. So one of the mischief makers opens up his imagination. They go to a wall. They float over in this big, like a monolith opens, like 2001, but it's a big, a big drawer. You see their heads go down, kind of float over, and then the camera shoots up, and you see their faces go from boredom to elation, and then the big camera's back down, and you see their cowboy gear boots and saddles and spurs and everything. And the next thing you know, they're hand gliding back down to earth, their cowboy gear, coming in to possibly
land on horseback.
Laying right on the horses. There you
You
go.
bet. Now that's
Wild
some tricky
horses,
flying.
Mustang horses.
Yeah, we don't have to endanger them, but we can do that with electronics nowadays.
Yeah.
Photoshop. Well, not Photoshop. Well, I forget what they call it, but it's video animation anyway. Yeah. Awesome shit, man. Yeah. So they land on their horses.
They land on their horses, and then they start a sequence of lives of this group of cowboys together, and you see their spiritual involvement and advancement, or their devolvement. Maybe there's a love story. Maybe there's a few love stories, different levels going through, but they pass on, they go back to heaven, they hand glide back down, and they become different historical figures. And possibly you work in
Jesus, Joe, and Mary all in one, man. I'm telling you, I like that.
But then you embed your lessons of life in there. Campfire talks, and you just see an involvement of the individuals through time.
Yeah.
And then a kind of an acceleration towards the end of their lives, where, you know, hey, there's a deadline, we got to get this done.
Yeah.
We better get our act together. So there's an urgency to do spiritual work, as well as possibly a hammer blow to the notion of some static heaven is what we really want in the long run. So the here and now where we live, honoring the earth, everything. This is the best we got, so let's let's not get too abstract with things. So you have the spokesman from Hamden coming, well, we've seen it over and over and over again. What's really important is clean air, clean water, pure hearts, and
Love, love, love.
yeah.
So the love story would be about the love of life. And
Indeed.
yeah.
The greatest love of all, the love of
Yeah.
life. I like that. Yeah.
I think we should do it. Somebody out there should send us a few bucks so we can. You know? Well, you know, you don't have to send us a few bucks. Just, what do you do? I don't know. Hell, just help us out in whatever way you can.
We'll put it out. I
Join
ran
us,
into a woman at the hot springs who does grant proposals, the county. You put a proposal. Maybe a community. Make them.
You know, some of the best films ever have been financed by the Canadian Film Board, and they're all shot in Canada, of course.
Oh, of course.
But there's some tremendous flicks. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember any titles off the top of my head. But there's been some tremendous flicks, art-wise and popularity-wise, that have come out of that. That's not a bad idea, bro. I like that.
I think that would be good seed money.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you could get multi-generations. You could get a bunch of people working together who would just not be doing anything at all.
Cowboys and angels, man. Sitting around the campfire, chewing the fat. God, yeah. That'd be a rodeo, man. I tell you. So let's ride into it. And I think we should ride into the sunrise now instead of the sunset, right?
We're riding into the sunset, right? Yep.
No, into the sunrise. Man.
Oh, we're riding into the sunrise. Okay.
Yeah, fuck the sunset. It's going down. We're going up. Yeah. We're only just begun.
You look to the east for new beginnings.
Yeah.
And the rising of Sirius.
From the west comes the inspiration, from what's been. And into the east is what's beginning, yeah. In fact, all the legends say it comes from the east anyway. If we can figure out which direction that is in the morning when it comes. It's hard when you're making a movie to maintain that kind of consciousness, because, you know, everybody's doing all these designer drugs and shit, you know. They're just wasted. I mean, you know, it's amazing anything gets done at all. Okay, on our set, the only designer drug they can have is spirit and heart and stuff like that, and maybe a little of mother's herb if they behave themselves and have a prescription, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah, from Dr. Enoch.
Well, I think kind of the film and the dialogue will reveal itself, though.
Yeah.
That's my really feeling. Reaching for some of these higher things, lessons, if you will, the spirit, they almost have to be of the moment.
Yeah.
They have to be fresh and really fresh to have that quality of, wow, I never looked at it that way before. But as you know, it's the editing that really makes the film.
Oh yeah, the editor is God, man. You know.
Once you get the raw footage, you know, what is the story you want to tell?
Yeah.
But I like, you know, the notion, your creation stories.
Yeah.
And actually going back that far, that's
well, it's not far.
But if you go back to like,
it's so close to us now, it's unbelievable, because that's basically what it is.
If you go around the outside the circle, right, coming back.
Yeah, right to the beginning. Yeah. Only because it's a spiral. It's the same point. It's kind of like a birthday. Every year you're a year older, but it's the same day every year. It's kind of like that, you know. But it's nowhere near as concrete.
In reality, we're actually kind of corkscrewing, aren't we?
Yeah, upward.
We're going forward, but we're going around at the same time.
Yeah, spiral. Yeah. And if you look inside yourself, you'll see spiral energy from your root chakra around the backbone all the way up into your mind. Serpentine energy, baby. Kundalini. Oh, all the sex freaks say that. Kundalini, I'm Master Kundalini, come with me. Yeah, right. Okay, I'll stop now.
There may be children watching.
Yeah, no kidding. No. Daddy has salty language sometimes. Granddaddy does.
I once had a sweetie call me Kundalini King.
Oh,
Thank
you nasty boy.
Thank you very much.
You nasty boy.
Yeah, she was sweet, very sweet gal.
Oh, I tell you, it's like...
But, you know, we're at a new beginning, you know. You have to step up to the plate and...
Oh, the male-female thing has to change big time. Well, it's doing it anyway. Nobody, I mean, look around you, nobody can tolerate the old way. Nobody's putting up with it anymore, you know. Not in the circles we travel. Out there, maybe they still are because they don't know any better, but they're feeling it too because the tensions are high and they're getting divorced right and left. You know, and they're not living together like they were, and, you know, things are a bit chaotic. You know, the male-female dynamic is going through huge, huge shifts and changes. I mean, I see it in my own life, and I see it in all the lives surrounding me. And I feel the pressure of it, too. We can't cling to the old ways. You know? Where we essentially take the corruption that's around us and apply it in our daily situation and live out essentially what's a lie. You know what I mean? If you ain't on the same level, and your heart's not in the right place or the same place, you ain't going to be there in that male-female dynamic. You'll be working on whichever side of it you're on, but you know, you'll be in here, not one-on-one, just one-on-one, you know, because you're just not ready for it. But it's just the tension of the time, so everybody's feeling it. Because the old ways won't work. That's why you can't do it. It's not anything nobody's shaking their finger and saying you can't, or somebody coming with a gun to stop you. You just can't do it because it doesn't work. You know, whatever approach you've had in the past, you know, no matter how well it's worked for you,
won't work anymore.
Won't work anymore. No. Truth. You know, from in here. Not out there. Because out there reflects back what's in here. You know? Geez, that's a hard one. Because I don't like what's out there sometimes, you know. So then you look inside and you say, that means I don't like what's in here. Well, that's true too. I have to get beyond all that bullshit. See, if more of us could be like you, you know, we'd have that essential peace, baby. You know?
What do you say?
Yeah.
Thanks for the compliment. But yeah, we all go inside, as you say. We find answers there that we didn't know were there, and different kind of a peace about things. Less confrontational, probably.
Oh, I don't know. I'll miss the confrontational shit. I'm kidding, of course. What a pain in the ass.
You can have always mock confrontations, you know. At the
Oh,
rollerball, you just, instead of having wars, you just get teams and you fight to the death.
Oh, they're doing that already. I think the day of competition is. Well, this is one of my buzz points, but I never mean. You know, when I was a little tiny kid, they were teaching me about competition and what a healthy thing it was.
Yeah.
And something inside of me just screamed, no, it ain't. You know, you guys lie. But I was so little, I couldn't accuse them of lying. So, you know, it just changes. But yeah, it's...
Well, cooperation is the other side of the coin.
Yeah, but cooperation because you understand and feel the necessity of it. You live it because it's the natural thing to do. It's the natural way.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way we heal the earth. It's not by creating government agencies or letting aliens come and help us or anything else. It's just by learning not just that we care for one another and care for the earth, but to feel that.
Yeah. Strongly to emanate it.
Yeah, I mean, and have all of your behaviors predicated on that rather than on designing it around what's in it for me. You know, because ultimately everybody does that on some level.
Yeah.
I mean, you have
go for
to.
the
Survival
truth,
here.
the truth vibe and the that gets people resonating and smiling, and the energy builds up.
And you're drawing them to you instead of pushing them away. And pretty soon you have
synergy.
A sane family to hang out with. Yeah. Now, wouldn't that be magic?
We deserve it.
Not only deserve it, we are it. We just have to let ourselves be. Get past the fear. And if the fear is too dangerous, well, what the hell? Step into it anyway. You're going to die somehow. You know, if you're that afraid, you're definitely going to die. So you might as well get it over with. Kidding, of course. But, you know.
Well, if we're all angels to the people that come in our lives, we already have a heaven on earth. If we don't have to be in competition, we know that we're all there to help each other, and that's the norm.
Yeah.
So many of the conflicts go away.
Yeah, I mean, no pollution, no slavery, I mean, all the real problems that we have in this world are just essentially from emptiness. And when you're not empty any longer, you don't act that way anymore. You know, when you realize the intricate nature of reality and how everything balances upon everything else, and every life predicates another, and they're all moving uniformly and supporting each other, you know, throughout. We see it reflected in the world around us already. You know, the order and the chaos, the goods that get delivered and produced and all that. I mean, you know, everybody eats, has a place to shit and all of that, you know. So that's the reflection of the perfection we're talking about, which is really not perfection because everything's growing and changing. But the interconnectivity that's more than molecular, more than atomic, that's love, it's this deep sense of care and wanting the essential joy for everything that lives. And so you perform your little function in it, whatever that is. Yeah. Or multifunction, depending on what you're doing.
But you have an organic place in the whole organism. It's alive. It's alive everywhere.
It's a natural place to be.
It's conscious. It's alive.
It's not brutal like the nature we see here. It's conscious. It's alive. It's caring.
Nurturing.
Yeah, nurturing. The feminine, if you want, but it's not just exclusively feminine. It's strongly into that element, but it's everything it is. It's not dominant. I mean, no part of it is dominant. I mean, it's like a tapestry woven together. It just works because it is. You know?
Web of Life by Chief Joseph.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a Ute Indian?
Yeah.
Or just a thread in the weave of life?
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah, smart man.
Put the balance of all the species together.
I think I met one of his great grandsons once, getting a taxi ride from Salt Lake City to Roosevelt, Utah. That's out the Ute reservation, out that area here. Yeah. Hey, I had an old Navajo gentleman give me my first Playboy when I was 8 years old. And there's Marilyn Monroe. I tell you, thank you, brother.
Wow.
He liked me. He thought it was pretty cool. I liked this magazine. Thank you very much. You know, my dad could find out my secrets and everything when I was a kid. I had trouble hiding anything. I was always in trouble.
Oh boy.
But he never found that Playboy.
You wouldn't be here today.
It's true.
You've been thrown in the manure pile or something.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Right back where you came from, boy. Nah. But he would have been extremely upset, and I probably would have been in prison for 6 years to life.
Son, why are these pages stuck together?
Why are you slobbering, old man?
Hey, where's the centerfold, Dad? Well, George Clinton, or Bill Clinton, sorry, George, said it best. Sex is a mysterious thing.
Especially when you're using it to distract the public from your real shenanigans. It will. Yeah. All you have to do in this society, of course, thank God that's going to change, but all you have to do in this society to get somebody to pay attention, say sex. Even just mention it. Shit.
Really?
We're so fixated, man.
The 10 secrets of... No, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, baby. God bless America.
Oh, the financial wizards get us out of the mess we're in right now. What's your opinion?
Oh, hell yes, shit. But I'm talking about the real financial wizards, not the ones that fucked it up. That are trying to fix it. No. It's the financial wizards in each one of us. And it goes back to the very thing we're talking about right now. Talk about topical. Here it is. We go back to the interwoven society, baby. It's real easy. We don't have to deal with them or their money world or anything. They're powerless. Money's nothing. We are each other's keepers and helpers and friends and brothers and sisters. And we do what we do in society because it's a healthy thing for everybody and it helps out. You know, and we don't have to kill ourselves doing it, because if we just slow down, take it easy, we'll do a much better job. Things will get done in a timely way. Everybody will eat, and it'll be a lot happier life. There'll be no stress.
So you'd say love is the next currency?
Yeah, I guess in a way, but I don't even like to look at it as trade and exchange. It's uniformity, it's equity, it's everything on the same level with the same intent, performing a specific and unique person in support of everyone else. I mean, can you think of a more loving thing to be? Talk about a fucking orgasm. I mean, and when you can realize that when you're living in a moment like this, that you consider less than perfect. You've already done it, and we're already there. That's the sneaky side of it.
So let's break up the ice cream, chocolate.
You can have the ice cream. I have some finer things in mind, you know.
Well, dare to live joyously, everyone. I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say.
You know that.
If you gotta eat ice cream, put chocolate on it, really good chocolate, like Ghirardelli.
Don't get the mayonnaise.
No mayonnaise, and nuts, and a cherry, and a little bit of whipped cream. Espresso is really good on something like that too. Poured over, not in, but you put up a little chocolate sundae. Yeah, and you get the chocolate on it. Don't put the nuts on, and then you just pour a little espresso around the edges of it. Pour it over the top, because it'll just thread down little ice trails. Don't overdo it. 1 or 2 shots a day. And no more chocolate. Nuts if you want them, whipped cream. That's but you could probably add a bit of Kahlua to that. If you really ask. I don't know.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
So in other words, there's a way to be joyous about anything, I would think, don't you?
Everything. In fact, I saw The Joy of Pickling on the book, The Joy of Pickling on the bookshelf in your house tonight.
Wow.
When you can bring joy to pickling.
God, you really done something, man.
You really have. The joy of stamp collecting. The joy of floor buffing. It's all your attitude, wax on, wax off. I enjoy just the simplest things now. I love washing dishes. Just feels nice in the hands, It's a nice time to think. Like you, just folding clothes with your wife today.
Don't tell anybody.
Joyous occasion.
There goes my masculinity out the window. What little I had left, man.
I know the 18-wheeler out there, there you are, folding undies, you know.
Women's undies.
Okay.
God, I didn't bring a cup of coffee. I think this video is over.
That's good.
We need a cup of coffee, man.
Good.
Love you guys. Thanks
All
for
right, guys,
tuning
thank you very
in.
much.
Yeah.
Until next week.
Rock and roll in your soul.